Hey everyone, my name is Martin and I'm going to show you how to modify a fitted sheet that'll fit a V-berth mattress such as in the bow of a boat. So fitted sheets generally have this elastic band around the bottom and it slips over the edge of your mattresses and keeps it straight and tight from slipping off. The problem is these fitted sheets are rectangular and they're not really accustomed to fit the triangular shape of a V-berth mattress. So usually have to tuck in the bottoms around the edges, and so it slips off, it gets baggy, it's just not right. So we can do better than that, and I'm going to show you a few tips to how to do it without much work. Fitted sheets have these tailored corners to fit snug and tight to the mattress, and I will show you how to keep these features that are already constructed into the design to minimize your effort with just a few simple cuts using some basic sewing skills. Here's a typical V-berth mattress characterized by its triangular shape, so it fits into the bow of a boat. Now, due to all the different sizes of boats, V-berth mattresses are different on most, and there isn't much you can find off the shelf to fit, where getting it custom made is about your only option to get it to fit correctly. So in this video, I'll show you how to customize a fitted sheet commonly used for standard bedding to fit your V-berth mattress. All you'll need is a sewing machine, scissors, a few sewing accessories, and some space to work.
First, add your foam topper, mattress pad, or any additions that you will need the sheet to fit over. I customized this fitted padded sheet with the same methods you're about to see in this video. Acquire a standard fitted sheet from a bedding supply store that will fit the wide end of the mattress snugly and has the minimum length. Home mattresses are typically thicker than boat mattresses, but if you can find a fitted sheet close to your mattress depth, it will make for a tighter fit. If not, that's okay, it'll still fit fairly well. Then, using a piece of tailor's chalk, mark a dashed line along the top corner edge, smoothing the surface towards the outside as you go. Don't worry if it's not perfectly straight, this is merely for reference at this point. End at the top where the sides begin to taper in. Then mark the bottom and the right side in a similar manner.
Mark the center of the end piece by measuring halfway across and splitting the difference. Now we're going to mark the depth of the side pieces just above the elastic edge.
By fitting the corner snugly over the mattress, aligning the top corner seam with the mattress corner. Tuck the elastic edge underneath so it sits evenly and tight along the bottom edge. Next, pull up any excess fabric onto the top of the mattress, keeping the edge smooth and well defined. Mark along the top corner edge, following the same approach used on the top surface for this side. Continue marking until this line meets the one from the previous step, smoothing the fabric upward and towards the center as you go, keeping the sides tight.
Mark the center of this in the same way as we did the upper part, the top part of the sheet.
Repeat the process for the right side, finishing with marking the center of the end similarly as the left side.
Okay, the big picture, you should now see the top mark here is roughly aligned with the bottom mark where we will sew these edges together.
Using a large table, a 4x8 sheet of plywood, or merely some weights on a hard surface floor, stretch out the sheet one side at a time where one set of the chalk markings are visible. You can use weights, clamps, and table corners to stretch out and expose the dashed reference line. Using a long straight edge, such as an 8-foot level or board, align the markings with the straight edge the best you can by push or pulling the fabric in the necessary direction with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance towards the mattress center.
Normally, a half-inch seam allowance is standard, but here we want to tighten up the sheet a bit to take out some of the wrinkles and slack on the surface. After I marked it with a continuous line using the tailor chalk, we should have a fairly straight line that'll make that seam look nice and perfect.
Do the same for the lower marking of the mattress elastic side section. Pull up your sheet to the bottom markings, clamp or stow the fabric, making it accessible. Note that the two lines converge into a narrow point at the top. Continue marking a straight line through your dashed lines at the narrow bottom from corner to corner. Repeat this for the right side.
Okay, down at the very bottom of the mattress where we have our elastic edge marking, we're going to continue this line that we marked at the center on down to the seam. So roughly that same trajectory. With the exception is we want a half-inch of seam allowance on the very bottom piece, on both sides. This way it'll ensure that we don't cut it too short. Very critical at the bottom. Okay, we do the same for the other side, to be the right side. Continue this on down to the seam, add a half-inch for seam allowance. Okay, we're going to cut this out from this line up. But before we do that, we need to tack the elastic down and so it doesn't snap and disappear inside this seam. So we're going to run over the machine and put a stitch just this side of the cut line because this is the waist side. Okay, here's my right edge. I put the stitching just on this inside. Okay, go to the opposite side, left in this case, do the exact same thing. All right, now for the scary part, cutting. But if there are some unintended errors, it's only $10 to $20 sheet, which is cheap education for the most part. All right, so generally I'm going to start right on the elastic, just opposite of where I put the tacking.
Hold on. Before we do any cutting, let's first summarize what things should look like thus far and where you're going next to ensure you have everything just right. Say this is your original sheet. Here are about what your cut lines should look like. Here's the part where you tack your elastic. This should be your final cutout area. And spoiler alert, this is what your reassembly is going to look like. Okay, now you can cut.
All right, finish cutting out. Take your scrap piece, this is the waste, rid of it, use it a rag, whatever. Now you're ready to reassemble your custom sheet. So I recommend pinning the edges to keep them from drifting apart. And if there are any difference in the edge length, you want to distribute them evenly as you pin.
Start by pinning the lower corner first. Then the upper corner at the converging V. then the middle, evening both sides. Then pin the middle of each side of center, then the middle of each section, and so on until your pins are spaced about 4 inches apart, being careful not to stretch the fabric as you go. The lengths should be relatively close depending on your mattress dimensions, but if there is a slight bit of unevenness in edge lengths, you will divide any disparity proportionally for the best look.
Okay, so I suggest to start sewing from the top, working your way down. This way you can remove the pins as you go. To do this, the pins should be inserted towards the top of the sheet, leaving the heads towards you so you can make it easier to remove them as you stitch. Okay, now we're going to repeat this for the right side, pinning first and then sewing. All right, now that we have both sides, the only thing we have left to do is sew the elastic bottom panels together. So I'm going to pin those first, sew it just like we've been doing. All right, let's go see how it fits. All right, not too bad. Overall, looks pretty good. No baggy edges or wrinkles. Let's take a little closer examination of our seam. Looks like it starts right here, follows this edge crest on down. So, all right. Here's where the three edges came together. A little bit of buckling here, but someone who is more proficient on a sewing machine could have probably done a even better job. And looks like the edge follows along here pretty well all the way to the edge. So overall, not too bad.
Your bottom should look about like this.
So that concludes my tutorial how to modify a fitted sheet to fit your V-berth mattress. You'll save a ton of money doing this yourself, and you'll have fun in the process. Thanks for watching, and happy sailing.